daughter, sister, mother, First Lady of the NFL.
I've been so blessed that this has been my life. I can't think of any other way I would want to be living my life.
A life that began a century ago in Chicago, Illinois. Since January 5th, 1923, Virginia Marion Halas McCaskey has been surrounded by football.
Well, my Aunt Lil took me to my first games before I was 3 years old. Dad would always come over after the game and say hello to us.
Growing up a girl in the 1920s and 30s had its own set of challenges. But as the daughter of George Halas, that's a story only Virginia can tell.
Well, I learned early on in life that if I really wanted something, I would wait until after the Bears won. If they lost, forget it. Grandma Halas used to send us a birthday check and a Christmas check each year. But there was a time when Daddy needed that money. And he kept saying, I'll pay you back, I'll pay you back. And he certainly did many times over.
Virginia wanted to support her father's long hours and his hard work, so she enrolled in college at only 16 years old, with plans to become his secretary.
And I went to Drexel in Philadelphia and didn't return to the Chicago area until February of '49.
It was there Virginia met the love of her life, Ed McCaskey, a student at the University of Pennsylvania and soon-to-be soldier in the 80th Division of the United States Army.
He was charming. He cared about people. I think that was his best quality.
Like any good father, George Halas sent two of his friends in the area over to Drexel to vet his daughter's new boyfriend. Those men were Art Rooney, owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and future commissioner of the NFL, Bert Bell.
Well, he came to the women's dorm that night and said that these men had come to Penn campus to visit and check on him. They sent back their approval. We planned to be married in December of '42. He was going to ask my dad about our being engaged.
But the Bears, after an 11-0 season, had just lost to Washington in the 1942 championship game.
I was afraid to ask him for anything after we lost. So that was postponed, and then we decided to just elope and have our own.
Ed and Virginia eloped on February 2nd, 1943, Papa Bear's birthday. They went on to have 11 children throughout the 40s, 50s, and 60s. But one thing remained the same.
Oh, I always got to the games. Mike and Tim and Pat were able to sit on the ground next to the bench in front of my mother's box at Wrigley Field. So we didn't need tickets for them. For a large part of my life, I always knew that my younger brother would be the one to take over. That changed when Muggs died. Dad finally got around to his estate planning after my brother died, but there was a small paragraph which stipulated that in matters relating to football operations, Virginia would have the final word. And to me, that was his vote of confidence.
Virginia became principal owner of the Bears following George Halas's death in 1983. Just 2 years later, Chicago Bears history changed forever.
Who's going to argue with Perry? He wins most of those. Walter Payton, Mike Ditka, hungry Chicago, finally champions on this January day in New Orleans.
And of course the Super Bowl of '85. That's the one most people remember. or they'll talk about it even though they don't remember because they weren't even born yet. Something that's just belongs to everyone.
There was one member of that Super Bowl 20 team who was extra special in Virginia's eyes.
John Madden called Walter our treasure, and that's very appropriate also. Who could resist him? I'm so grateful that we have NFL films, because when you were watching him, he did things that you just, well, I know I saw it, but I still don't believe it. And we have all those wonderful game films to really help us realize how extraordinary he was. I think we have a great responsibility to our Chicago Bears fans. I mean, they're the ones who really support the team and come to the games, buy the tickets, help cheer on the team. It's an important part of it. I'm just very grateful for my life and all the opportunities I've had, all the privileges I've had, all the games I've watched, all the miracles I've watched. I can't think of a better life, and I hope we all value what we have and take good care of it.